welcome to Girls Frontline 2. We now have to answer the question, is Daiyan worth it to pull for free-to-play, assuming that you will only have her at V0? Is or are her skills going to be as efficient with the higher levels versus V0? So those are the things that we're going to go over today. We will be discussing her top 3 skills and starting off with her passive. So at the start of the action, gains 1 point of Confectance Index and 1 stack of tuning. When performing an active attack against a target not protected by cover, gains 1 point of Confectance Index as well. So take note, aside from the initial gain of 3, once you have that in your neural helix, you will only be gaining a maximum of 2 points more or less per turn, provided that you will be able to comply with the requirements for the second one. So when performing an active attack is defined as these 3. So attacking with your basic attack, attacking with your absolute tuning, which is an active attack, and also attacking with your ultimate. So those are the active attacks that the skill is referring to. So let's go back to the passive. So again, when performing an active attack not protected by cover, this should be specific because you will be able to know which one is behind cover, which is not. Usually if they're not behind cover, the line of sight that is lighted is going to be colored yellow. So most probably you should be doing or targeting that single enemy. Next is before taking targeted damage, if the number of tuning stacks is greater than 2, launches an interception. Okay, the interception, this is easy to trigger as long as you were able to use the passive, which we'll be talking about later, and dealing light ammo physical damage is equal to 150 of attack and 4 points of stability damage, and permanently gains 1 stack of tuning. This should happen as often as possible. You should be able to stack permanent tuning stacks, because permanent tuning stacks will help you build up to a bigger damage, especially bigger stability index damage. Okay, this can be triggered once per turn. If the number of tuning stacks is greater than 3, increases the damage dealt by 20%. As I've said, once you increase the tuning stacks, you'll be taking out more stability index and you'll be dealing more damage in turn. As previously mentioned, this is the active buff that is going to gain you 3 stacks of tuning, as well as pitch perfect for 1 turn, and gains 1 instance of extra command. Extra command is just commands other than movement that can be executed. For the 3 stacks of tuning, if you're free to play, you are really stuck with that at V0. But if you are at V2, the 3 stacks will turn into 6 stacks, which is kind of much easier to stack up your tuning stacks. But if you are very efficient in using your confectance cost, this is going to take you 4. You can actually spam this for a second time before you use all of your tuning stacks using your ultimate, which we will talk about after this skill. So Confectance Index definitely is going to be costly at 4 for this. Again, going back to the passive, if you know how to balance out the gaining and using of the skills, this one, once you use this first, you will have to wait for, I think, 1 or 2 turns before you can use this again at Confectance cost 4. It also has perfect pitch, so before launching active attacks, deals stability damage equal to the number of tuning stacks. Can trigger 1 time. This effect cannot be cleansed. So this is the skill that lets you take out a lot of stability index. Plus, this skill, makes you move. Gives you an additional 6 tiles of movement after using an active attack. So all in all, this buff has a lot going for it. Lastly, we do have her ultimate. So selects one enemy target within 6 tiles, dealing physical damage equal to 190% of attack. For every 1 stack of tuning, reduces the skill's cooldown by 1 turn. So after attacking, consumes all stacks of tuning and gains 1 stack of tuning permanently, up to a maximum of 3 stacks. So this skill is going to be the one that you should be spamming as soon as possible, because number one, you will be creating tuning stacks permanently with a maximum of 3 stacks, and reduces the skill's cooldown as well. So all 3 of the skills, passive, the buff, and the target or the ultimate targeted buff, is going to be a seamless cycle and a skill rotation wherein you should be able to know when you're going to be using Confectance Index and when you're going to be using your tuning stacks. Okay, so for actual gameplay, we do have Daiyan here with the first turn, and let's see how you'll be playing her. Okay, so as obviously she does have a lot of range, we can actually go there up front and use the buff for more tuning stacks and pitch perfect. So as you do that, you will have around, I think, 4 stacks, which is correct. Then you have to convert those 4 stacks into a permanent stack of 1 tuning by using the ultimate. Okay, so also take note that the enemy that you should shoot should be without cover, like the enemy that we just shot, because it's going to add you another Confectance Index. This was previously 2, now it's a 3. So let's end action here and go to turn 2. Okay, so for turn 2, if you notice here that your ultimate is still on cooldown, I would highly advise that you don't use your buff as of the moment, because you're only at 4 Confectance Index at this point. Let's go here and let us use one of the attacks to be able to take care of one of these. So basically what I'm saying is you need to wait for the cooldown for your ultimate before you could use your buff here. Okay, so again, after that active attack, you can actually reposition her to a area wherein she is safe. Then we will end turn 2. Okay, so for turn 3, we do have our ultimate again, and we do have our buff. So we will have to use our buff here and use our ultimate again. Again, make sure that the opponent that you are targeting doesn't have any cover, because you will be gaining Confectance Index from this one. Okay, so you're up to 2 again with 0, but you still do have movement here, which you can do, and we will do just that. As we end our third turn, the only takeaway, guys, that I'd like to impart with you is whether you're at V0 or V6, it won't really matter in terms of Confectance Index. You'll still be earning 2 per turn, provided that you follow the parameters for the second one, that you attack an enemy that doesn't have cover and with an active attack. So again, the only difference will be your tuning stacks and also your permanent tuning stacks. So those will increase as you increase your fortification levels and depending on what you really unlock. So again, she is going to have the same play as any level fortification. She has high mobility, as you saw there, moving, doing the buff, attacking, then moving to another area, which actually is very beneficial if you have certain enemies to pick in the battlefield, or you have certain objectives that you need to reach as soon as possible. So that is it, guys, for our free-to-play assessment for what do you call this, for Daiyan. So what do you think, guys? Please comment down in the comment section. Take care, stay safe. This is the Warden, and I'm out of here.